Good morning. Welcome to Leon County Today with Sheriff Rolf McNeil. And Sheriff, today we're talking about our detention facility and really working to reduce the recidivism rate and the conversation regarding the individuals we have in our care and custody. How do we get them in a position to survive and thrive once they leave the facility?
Well, that's the hardest thing about detention facilities all across our country, and particularly here in Leon County with ours. Getting persons who are incarcerated, we know about 90% of the people incarcerated are going to come back. And it's in that time frame that we've got them in our care and custody that we have an opportunity to either be a plus in their lives or perhaps something they regret in terms of having interacted with us. And what we want to do is make sure that we can get in those spaces where they are and bring to them programs and opportunities to be successful. And one of the things we do is obviously we believe that religion plays a huge role in our society. And in our detention facility, we bring in chaplains. And those chaplains are essential to making sure that those persons in our care and custody are connected back to their community. And oftentimes, it's those churches that they are released from our detention facility and go back into. And I tell you, it's been a tool that is irreplaceable in terms of turning lives around. We have other programs, we have reading programs, we have job programs, but I can tell you our chaplaincy program is perhaps the most impactful of all the things we do.
Yeah, really helping them to establish some accountability as it relates to life after they leave the detention facility. Talking about the chaplaincy program, you know, there is no particular religion. We really open this up to anyone who wants to come, and we're looking for volunteers to really be a part of this process.
Oh, absolutely. We've got at least 3 or 4 different types of religious organizations that are part of it, and we welcome anybody that comes. Obviously, we're going to do a background check on them, make sure that they are legitimate people involved in these faith-based opportunities. But it is through those opportunities that our folks are thriving. I'll be honest with you, I see so many people back in our community who talk about, had it not been for the chaplaincy program while they were at the Leon County Detention Facility, that their lives would not have been turned around. It is essential that we keep that program going, absolutely.
All right, well, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to hear from one of our chaplains over at the detention facility, and then also one of our volunteers about the importance of that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Absolutely. So we want you all to stick around to hear more as an LCSO chaplain shares her perspective. Stick around, we'll have more details.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jimmy Goodman with the Leon County Sheriff's Office, and this is your Crime Tip Tuesday. How to protect your child from cyberbullying. If you discover your child is being bullied, it is important to teach him or her not to react or retaliate. You should block the bully, print out and keep evidence, talk regularly with your child about their online activities and what he or she is involved in. Tell him or her that you are going to review their online activities. Consider installing parental control filtering and understand and know what their passwords are. Always educate your children about the consequences of inappropriate use of his or her electronics. Have a great week. Be safe out there.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Chaplain Allardyce Gaines with our Leon County Detention Facility. Chaplain, tell us about your background with our detention facility.
With the detention facility, my initial introduction to the detention facility was as a volunteer chaplain, and I would come in on Tuesdays each week and serve the population.
How long ago was that?
That's been 15 years ago.
15 years and
Yes,
still at it.
Still there, and have the privilege now to work for the department. Absolutely.
Okay, what's been the most memorable thing you've done since you've been in the detention facility?
Wow. I would say just being able to share the word with individuals and watching them respond to it, watching them make a commitment. There are some other experiences that we have when I began to see the gifts that we have there, that people are able to share those gifts, show what they're capable of doing. And so it's memorable there. And then, of course, just some of the events that we have, watching them graduate from particular reentry programs and what have you.
Let's talk about your interactions with the inmates, the folks that are incarcerated. How does that interaction take place? What's that like?
Well, we have systems where they can request particular services such as individual counseling and spiritual counseling. We have group counseling for them. We have classes and Bible studies. And so we have every opportunity to go into the housing units in the detention facility and provide whatever service is requested. Many times they just really want to know what faith means and what it's all about. So we make sure that we make ourselves available to go in and do that service for them.
Now, in terms of resources, many of the times the persons come to our care and custody, they lack resources, they lack opportunities. How do you fill that void? How do you step in those spaces to make sure they've got the resources they need?
Okay, we try to network with the community, people in the community, businesses, churches, what have you, and we ask for donations. So those are some of the resources that we have access to. Many times, if they send a request and there's something in particular that they need, for example, one of the religions requires particular things that most of our things are donated. And so if there's something we need, we definitely try to put our feelers out and do referrals and see if we can get people coming in and get people donating so that we can provide for them.
Okay. Now, how many chaplains do we have?
Over at the detention facility,
Yes.
there are 2 of us.
2, okay.
And we have a faithful volunteer. Several gentlemen come in the evenings and work with the men. And then we have, of course, one of our female volunteers who we'll talk about in a little bit, who's faithful to come in.
You know, we need volunteers. So talk to me about how do we go out there and how does one become a chaplain with the Leon County Sheriff's Office?
Okay. One of the things that's going to be required will be to have a background screening, criminal records background screening. The other would be to be affiliated with a particular faith that has ordained or licensed the person to serve in that capacity. And of course, we ask them to bring all of their I call it their spiritual gifts,
Okay.
whatever things that they're able to share with us. And so once they complete that screening, which takes about 2 weeks, complete their orientation and their training with the department, then they can come in and serve.
Now, we talked about volunteers. We also need donations. How can people donate things to the Leon County Sheriff's Office or to the chaplaincy?
Okay. One of the things is if they would just give us a call, they can, most often people come, they drive through.
They drive through.
They come in and they drop off Bibles, they drop off bus passes, they drop off whatever resource they have. And we certainly appreciate that, but if they can call, we can pick it up, whatever is necessary to get it in there.
Now, 15 years of service in the Leon County Detention Facility. You've seen some ups and downs. Is there one particular story that sticks out that you'd like to share with the audience?
Ups and downs as it relates to them. One of the things that is to see them make a commitment to go out into the community, just to merge and make the proclamation that they're going to strive to be stronger, to be more community oriented, to be more valued, you know, as a participant in the community, that they're not going to go back to their old habits. So that's a up for us because they have, to me, it's vital that they develop a sense of value, some standards, some faith to keep them strong, some spiritual faith. And so that definitely is worth every minute that we can spend doing that. The down is when we see them come back.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
the down.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I've watched for the last 6 years the job that you and the staff does over there and the volunteers, and I can tell you we would not be in the place of putting our reentry efforts in place if it were not for the great job that you and the one other staff you have there do and the volunteers.
Yes.
So thank you so very much. And up next, one of our faithful volunteers tells us what keeps her coming back. Stay tuned. We're back with one of our great detention facility volunteers, Pastor Gwendolyn Singleton. Pastor, tell us about how did you get involved with the Leon County Sheriff's Office?
Well, first of all, I've worked with EBD students over the years, emotional behavior students. I'm the mother of 2 children, 7 grands, and my husband and I co-pastor in Quincy, Florida. And so I've had the opportunity to volunteer, actually to visit the prison and the jails. Because I'm involved in ministry, many parents or relatives of those who are incarcerated would request that I visit their loved one. So after doing that, I've had a desire. As a matter of fact, over the years, I had a strong desire to get involved with just going into the facilities and teaching Bible study to the incarcerated. And I didn't know how.
Okay.
So I asked questions, and they told me how to go about getting the information, and I connected with Chaplain Gaines.
So now, how long have you been volunteering, working with incarcerated persons?
I think it's been probably about 10 years, but actually at the facility, it's been about 5 years.
So talk to me about how important is it from your perspective to have chaplains working with people who are detained in our detention facility?
It is very important. As a matter of fact, I think about a thought that comes to my mind is when Joseph, in the Bible, was incarcerated, and he went from prison to purpose. And that's what I think about when those who are incarcerated. Many times I've gone in, and it seems like they're so discouraged. They had to first get to know me to be able to share, but when they started sharing with me, I could feel it hurt, and I would sympathize with them. I became transparent with them, but I found out too that they needed someone to talk to relate, and then also to give them hope, to know that they didn't have to stay where they were, but they can go further. And I think it's very important to have people to come in and encourage them to do that.
Now, are you, as you come into the chaplaincy program at our detention facility, are you interacting with just the females or males, or do both?
As a matter of fact, I generally interact with the females, but there were some parents that requested that I visited their loved one males, so I've done both of them.
Okay. What do you find to be most rewarding about what you do in chaplaincy?
Oh my goodness. I think, for one thing, when I'm interacting with the inmates, they have many talents, gifts. And what's so rewarding to me is having them to share their gifts, what they have, with me, as well as me sharing whatever talent I have with them. They love to hear me sing, so I would sing to them.
Okay.
And also teach Bible study, but a lot of times I would just sing, and they love that. And that drew the crowd, as a matter of fact, the singing. And then when the crowd gathered, we would open up and we would share with one another. They would tell me their hurts, and if I had something, I would share with them, and we felt like a family. And I think it's very rewarding to feel like you're part of them. They feel like you're part of the family.
You know, Pastor, thank you for what you do. And what would you say to somebody out there in another church or synagogue or mosque? What would you say to them about volunteering at Leon County Detention Facility?
I think I would encourage that. As a matter of fact, I think that's very important, and I would encourage them to do so. A lot of them may not have done so because they didn't know how, to get involved, like myself. But I would encourage that because all of us have loved ones that, have done something and failed in life, and when you pour into someone else, it gets poured back into you. So I think it's really good that they get involved with that individual, with those individuals. It enhances their lives, but also it enhances ours as well.
Pastor, thank you. And let's just tell me, what would you say to other pastors out there in our community who we'd love to see come into the Leon County Detention Facility?
I would invite them to do so. As a matter of fact, I think about, Jesus, he didn't hang around those who were whole, but those who were broken and needed help. And so we shouldn't just stay in the walls to those who are whole, but reach out to those who are broken. And I will encourage those pastors to get involved with the volunteer program.
Well, Pastor, thank you. You've preached a sermon here this morning, and we certainly appreciate it. To find out more about our chaplaincy program, log on to leoncountyso.com and click on our detention facility. Just ahead in our Deputy on Duty, we go behind the scenes for training with our school resource deputies. Stay tuned.
In this week's Deputy on Duty, we're taking you behind the scenes of how Leon County School Resource deputies train before the start of a new school year. But first, here's a warning. The following video contains content and sounds that may be too intense for some people, so viewer discretion is advised. Active shooter training is required for all LCSO deputies. However, this particular exercise, held on the grounds of Payson Defense in Perry, Florida, is unique in many ways.
It's the first time that we've used this facility, and we're grateful to do it. Great training and state-of-the-art facility.
During this exercise, the location inside this shoot house served as the perfect backdrop for training. The block walls are reinforced with rebar, poured cement, and other features, making it possible for deputies to use live ammunition.
They have a lot to offer here. It's good to have a new environment, also good to do some new trainings out here.
We've been doing some range work with pistols and rifles, as well as some room clearing techniques, preparing for the worst case scenario, an active shooter. We're doing threat recognition drills, as well as shooting with and around a partner that may respond to the schools with us.
Members from LCSO's highly qualified SWAT team assisted the training staff, teaching new techniques that can be applied to different scenarios and how to approach critical situations on campus.
The feedback you get from the instructors on the ground and also with the bird's eye view is second to none. So they really see what your mistakes are and what you did right.
Training in this controlled environment with live ammunition also teaches deputies how to simulate some of the effects that you have with adrenaline. There are breathing techniques that can be implemented.
After a stressful event or stressful situation that deputies go to, just responding to any type of call or any type of incident, your heart rate spikes, of course. And then HeartMath teaches us to bring it down between calls so we're not carrying that stress from one call throughout the day. It's very helpful, and then there's an app and we get to see our results on it. That is new to me, and it's incredible.
We featured the HeartMath app previously on Leon County Today, but you can find that story and others by subscribing to our YouTube page. All those details are on our website, leoncountyso.com. I'm Angela Green for Leon County Today.
Welcome back to Leon County Today with Sheriff Walt McNeil and Sheriff seeing our school resource deputies out there sharpening and honing their skills, I think brings a level of comfort to me as a parent for sure, and I'm sure lots of other parents out there.
That's the idea. We want to make sure that citizens realize that we are preparing, and we want to make sure that they know that we're going to do everything we can possibly do to keep this community safe and our kids safe. And it takes all of us working on that. It takes, obviously, Leon County Sheriff's Office, Tallahassee Police Department, but it takes our citizens too. We always talk about see something, say something,
right.
And certainly the first day of school, as school kicks off, we've all got to be on high alert, you might say, so that we can see what's going on and make sure that nothing happens that's going to adversely impact our children.
Absolutely. And then talking about our chaplaincy program over at the detention facility, you know, one of the things that resonated with me hearing both of our guests today, they talked about the many talents that are over at the detention facility. And I've seen some of the drawings that are created there, and some of there really is talent. It's just a matter of taking those skills and channeling it in the right direction.
Absolutely. Many of these young persons have just made 2 or 3 bad decisions. They're not bad people per se. And if they're given half the chance, they'll come out and do some tremendously great things. And our chaplains bring that out. They get there and they see the person as a human being and giving them another chance. And that's the great thing about faith-based organizations is they know that we all have fallen and we all get back up, and we want to make sure that these kids and these people in our detention facilities are able to get back up.
Yeah, we talk a lot about all in, and this is really the epitome of it, because really everyone can play a role as it relates to keeping our community safe.
Absolutely. Now, everybody has to play a role. If we're going to keep this community safe, it means everybody has to be involved and engaged and trying to make sure that we live up to all the promises this nation offers to all of us, and we can do that one person at a time, as our chaplains do in our detention facility.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sheriff.
Oh, thank you.
And that'll do it for another episode. We will see you back here next week.